All right. Well, thanks, Nicole. And thanks for everyone for joining the presentation today. When I accepted this great opportunity to present along with Nicole from Chief Ingredient and present to BMW dealers, the first thing I said to myself was, Ray, take off your dealer hat. Stop thinking like a dealer and just be a consumer for a couple weeks. While being in Chicago and a very competitive market with a lot of advertising, I watched every single commercial that I could that a dealer put out, listened in on every radio spot, looked at every single website that I could by a dealer, and then opened every dealer newsletter I've gotten, because I've collected a lot of newsletters over my years of buying cars. And the resounding message I heard and saw in every message from every dealership was either a dealership was number one in something, they were the best in something, they had been in business for so many years. Now remember, I had my consumer hat on, and I said, holy cow, if everyone's the best or number one or has been in business so long, who would I buy from or who would I service from? So I ask you all on the call today, and just to take a quick second and think about what is the one thing that differentiates you from every other dealer that is number one or the best in something or has been in business for 40 years. Hopefully most of you thought it's your employees. It's the experience they give to every customer that interacts with your dealership.
Great, exactly. So Ray, let's switch to the roadmap slide, and we'll look at what we're going to present today. So we're going to go ahead and look at today's automotive shoppers, who they are and how they're coming to your dealership, where DealerRater fits into that equation. We're going to talk about a few successful strategies to tackle your online reputation, the power of employee engagement and why engaging them will really create a better dealership, looking at the new Why Buy book, covering some success stories, going through some great data, and then leaving questions and answers for the end.
Our consumers are changing weekly, monthly, daily. Our consumers are changing. The internet has made this possible very quickly. So let's just take a few minutes to talk about our consumers and what makes them tick in today's age. So there was a study that came out by Millward Brown Digital and Google. Today's auto shoppers use 24 research points. So consumers compare models, they visit dealer sites, they request a quote, they watch a video, they go to OEM sites, the BMW site, they get marketed via TV, radio, all the different forms, and of course they go to consumer review sites now. Not sure if this is a coincidence, but of all 24 touch points, the consumer review site is the closest to the consumer in this graphic. Is it a coincidence? I think not. So let's look at some really amazing stats. Reviews do matter. Customer service is now the number one factor for influencing how a consumer trusts a company. Improving the service experience is the most effective way to take control of your brand. 45%, and we're looking at the left graphic, 45% of comments and reviews are now service related. So if you look at product, which is 33%, product's important, and we look at pricing and value, that's very important to the consumer, 3312, that equals the 45% that's being talked about for service. So apparently, specifically in a review and what consumers are willing to talk about, it's the service and the experience that they had over anything else that they're commenting about. Some other great stats. Your brand is being controlled by online feedback, not your marketing. Again, this is now the right graphic. As a dealership, are you investing the resources, money on your dealership brand and not marketing the things that really don't matter to your consumers anymore? I know there's a lot of dealers out there that still market the way they did 10 years ago. Well, we have to make sure we're marketing in the areas that we know matter to the consumer nowadays. 79% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. Not too many years ago, there were many studies that came out that said people trust friends and family. Well, there are many studies out there that show that consumers trust another consumer's opinion just as much as a friend and family nowadays. So online reviews are critical to a dealership's success. 44% said that online reviews are the most important factor in their search. Another very big stat. Two final stats, and we'll move away from the stats, but I think these are so powerful. 81% of consumers are willing to pay more for a better experience. It's pretty interesting stat because we know that most customers are very conscious on pricing. Well, 81% are more willing to pay more for a better experience. And that I thought was really interesting. By 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as a key brand differentiator. So I guess the question I have for you is your dealership ready now and for the future on what's important to your consumer? So what I wanted to do, I'm sure the majority, if not all the dealers on are very familiar with DealerRater, but I just wanted to take a quick second and throw out a couple quick stats to talk about who and what DealerRater is. DealerRater is the largest and only automotive review site on the web dedicated to the automotive industry. We have 1.5 million reviews on our site, 1.5 million. Great stat to that is every 55 seconds on average, a consumer is posting a review on our site about an automotive experience, every 55 seconds. And to put this all together, DealerRater, because we've been around a long time and the amount of reviews we're collecting on a 55-second basis, we have 43% more automotive-specific reviews than Yelp, Google, Cars.com, Edmunds combined. So how does DealerRater fit into your car buying process for your consumer? DealerRater is everywhere your consumer is searching for in their car buying process. So I just wanted to kind of quickly touch base on a few of the areas on this slide. While consumers are choosing which dealership to visit, ready-to-buy customers are looking online and finding DealerRater reviews at the top of the search engine results. Whether they're going to Yahoo, Google, Bing, DealerRater appears 87% of the time on the first page of a search when it comes to reviews. Consumers are also visiting other top automotive sites. One example is DealerRater reviews appear on other high-traffic websites like kellybluebook.com, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. DealerRater is also starting to show up at consumer auto shows. So consumers are hearing a lot about us now at the different automotive consumer shows. Dealers are also using their websites and their social media efforts with a lot of the tools DealerRater offers. DealerRater is appearing via websites and social mentions, and they're being tagged in a lot of different areas around the web. And then one thing we're going to stress a lot throughout this presentation is service. Finding the right service center. Consumers are finding a lot about DealerRater with the amount of advertising we're doing on the consumer side specific to the service side of the business. So DealerRater and DealerRater reviews continue to be seen by consumers throughout their entire buying cycle. So as indicated on our previous slide, DealerRater content and reviews are being syndicated on some of the key automotive websites on the web. One thing that a lot of you probably have heard is we were chosen by Kelley Blue Book as part of their Kelley Blue Book Fusion program to feed the reviews to the Kelley Blue Book site. So we're the exclusive review provider to Kelley Blue Book's Fusion program. So as you can see on this graphic, our reviews show up very nice, very professionally. Your employees show up for those consumers that are searching on the most trusted and most known name in the industry, which is Kelley Blue Book. We also appear, our reviews appear via vAuto, and there was a recent announcement by J.D. Power and DealerRater that we are now partnering with DealerRater, and we are starting to take place in a lot of their processes, specifically around what they're doing with their CSI communications. And this is just the beginning of some other big partnerships that are in the works for DealerRater, and the validity and the syndication value that DealerRater has in the reviews that we're posting on our site.
Great. So we just love that KBB integration. So let's switch gears just a little bit and dive into some strategies to help master your online reputation. So when we start working with dealerships, the number one thing we recommend is to look, and it's okay, it's not vain, go ahead and Google search your dealership and see where you show up. The great thing about DealerRater is that 87% of the time, you're going to show up on the first page of search results, the DealerRater listing will, and in the 4th position. And this is a really great example of a store we manage, United BMW Roswell, where I've Google searched that store, and their DealerRater listing is in the 4th position on the first page. And they're looking awesome. They have a 4.8, they have about 30 reviews, and so we love that it's showing up on that first page of results, which really sets them apart from their competitors. Another fun fact is if you search your dealership name and add reviews to it, your DealerRater listing will show up 97% of the time. So a really great site to focus on, getting reviews and driving reviews. And when monitoring, we want to take this one step further to when you receive a review. Reaching out to customers is really critical, and that's exactly what our team does. So we're here 7 days a week to monitor your online reviews that are coming in. So when our dealerships receive a DealerRater review, when it's positive, we send it to the appropriate sales or service team, commend them, give them a digital high five, and propose a response that we will then post on the DealerRater listing. And then, unfortunately, if you receive a negative review, we propose a response as well. And we see so many of these coming in. We help create an action plan to turn that unhappy customer into a happy customer. We'll help with the response. We'll give you advice on how to reach out to the customer and go on from then. And then with all these sites, there are terms and conditions that the review has to fall under. So if for some reason that review goes against terms and conditions, we dispute that review on your behalf. So we really take charge, help take this off your shoulders, and alert you and help with responses and an action plan for reviews coming in.
All right, well, thanks, Nicole. As we all know, Nicole was just talking about the importance of monitoring your reviews across the web. Now let's get into managing the reviews you're collecting and building a strong foundation. So what's most important to that is you need to ask for the review. And there's a lot of different ways you could do that, but as a certified dealer with DealerRater, we provide you a lot of tools to help do that. So whether it be point of sale materials that we're providing, rating reminder cards, invoice stickers, window stickers, we also will provide templates for your CRM system that a day after the sale of the vehicle, after an RO is closed, you can have an email automatically generating, thanking the customer for their business and giving them a very easy link to go ahead and post that review. Now, the one thing I want to stress is that it's important to gauge both sales but also service customers. And again, I really want to stress service, and we're going to talk about that now. So don't forget your service department. Give your service department or service center the attention it deserves. Stand out from other independent service options with your online reputation. If you think about it today, the Jiffy Lubes, the third parties, the do-it-yourselfers are dominating the service searches and service reputation online. So as a certified service center dealer with DealerRater, all of your service reviews and all that great content will start indexing high in service searches on Google and will help you better compete for those customers that are looking for the next place to service their vehicle. And why do you not want to forget about service? Well, a couple quick stats. As we know, the average dealership does somewhere around 13,000, 14,000 ROs a year. This is compared to about 1,300 to 1,400 sales. So if you think about that, that's 10 times more customers who could be writing a review about your dealership service experience. 91% of new car shoppers want to read service reviews when considering a dealership. If you're not focusing on service, that 91% then will be passing you by and finding reviews on a dealership who is paying attention to service. 1 in 4 drivers will post a review when they find a vehicle service provider they like. That could be potentially thousands of reviews specific to your service department. So if you think about it, that will have a huge impact on how you appear online when it comes to your service department. And as we know, service is critical to our success. So one of the things we also talked about a little bit earlier is using tools that your dealership already has to help push reviews. And as mentioned earlier, as a certified dealer at DealerRater, we will provide you CRM templates that you could use, given, or you could tweak them. But what they can do is absolutely drive the acceptance of posting that review after the consumer's left the dealership. And one of the most critical pieces to this is that you want to make sure it's very easy for your consumer to post that review. So a big piece of that is putting a link directly to your DealerRater review page, your Google review page, to your Yelp review page. Have several of them in there, but make sure it's very easy for your consumer to actually get there and post that review. Now, one of the things that Nicole and I spoke a lot about before this presentation, and we felt just is by far probably the most impressive tool that we offer at DealerRater, is what we call DealerRater Push. And what that does is at the end of a positive review on DealerRater, and I stress positive, we will offer up to your consumer the ability to easily cut and paste, and we'll provide a link to another review site of your dealership choice where that consumer could post that review. So if you think about the importance of having reviews on all the review sites, because consumers look in many different places, that you do that. So what a lot of dealers will do, and we've been told a lot, is that DealerRater is by far the easiest place for a consumer to post a review. If you want to try build reviews on some of the harder review sites like Google and Yelp, what we suggest is start with DealerRater, and then hopefully the push feature will make it easier for that consumer to post that review on a Google or Yelp or a Cars.com or other review sites out there. Why I stress that is some dealers will find that maybe starting with a Google or Yelp is the place to be. But as we know, they are more difficult sites for a consumer to post a review. So if a consumer gets halfway through and does not post that review, as a dealership, you've got not one review from that consumer. If you've started with DealerRater, you've got that review. If we use the push feature and that consumer gets halfway through that Google review and chooses not to post that review, at least you still have that review on DealerRater. So DealerRater highly recommends reviews being posted on other sites, but start with the review site that's easiest for the consumer to increase the likeliness that you'll get a review.
Exactly right. So that's exactly why we love the DealerRater push function when we're helping our dealerships, is because DealerRater is so easy to post on, and because of the push function, it's easy to get those reviews on other sites as well. So one of the examples that we have from a dealership we manage is United BMW of Gwinnett, and they have a 4.8 rating on DealerRater with 150 reviews, so they're doing very well. And they wanted to start boosting their Cars.com score. So one of the easiest ways to get them started with that was pushing to the Cars.com through the DealerRater push function. And now they have a 4.9 on Cars.com with 72 reviews there. So a great way to get that site going.
All right, so now that we've done a great job of monitoring and managing our DealerRater and other online review sites, now how do we start leveraging and adopting a powerful offense and making sure that consumers are reading all the great things you're doing with your consumers? So one of the features is promoting your reviews on your dealership website. As a tool that we offer as part of our Certified Dealer program, as we do have a testimonial feed to your website. And as you can see in this example from Park Avenue BMW, you will notice that it's professionally and very nicely looking placed into their website. And one other thing I want to stress around this is that a lot of people question the validity of a review. Well, dealers now and consumers feel a lot more confident as they're coming to a dealership website. They see that powered by DealerRater. They know it's a third-party review site. They know they're legitimate reviews, and they're not a dealership or somebody else going in and not posting, and posting illegitimate reviews. So very powerful of having those reviews automatically feed right to your dealership website.
And another way to take advantage of showing off those positive reviews is putting them on your social media page for our dealerships as well. And with DealerRater, we're able to push 5-star reviews to your Facebook page. And that shows up not only on the timeline when people go to your Facebook page, but also in the news feed, so your fans can see it in real time in the news feed. When they like it, it gets shared with their friends. So we just absolutely love that function, and it's very social. When we set this up for dealerships, as you can see with United, BMW, Gwinnett, people are liking these posts. They're liking to read those third-party reviews. DealerRater also offers 2 tab options, so viewing your inventory and reviews in a separate tab as well on the Facebook page. So great ways to show off the reviews that you're receiving that are positive. Great, Ray. So do you want to talk about how to promote your reviews everywhere?
Yeah, I was on mute. I apologize for that. I was talking. We talked about your website and your Facebook, and now your dealerships all over the country are changing their marketing messaging and their advertising spend to drive home the messaging that consumer reviews are number one, that employees are number one. So dealerships are now communicating their dealership culture, and that's what's critical right now. They don't want to hear that you're number one in this or that. They want to hear that you're number one in your consumer eyes. So whether it be via online, TV, radio, print, outdoor media, whatever forms of advertising you are still using, dealerships are now focusing their marketing and advertising spend on that type of messaging. So I ask everyone on the phone, what would your consumers and your employees say if asked about your dealership culture? All right, so we know how to better monitor, manage, and leverage our online reviews. We are now changing our marketing messaging to resonate with what our consumers are looking to read and hear. Now we need to focus on a key piece of making this all work, and that's your employees. Put the me in team. How could you engage your employees and make it a win-win for your employees, your consumers, and your dealership? I absolutely love this quote. Employee engagement matters. Employee engagement is what happens when consumers win over the hearts, emotional connection, and minds of employees in ways that lead to extraordinary effort and positive financial results. This was a quote that was given by BI Worldwide, and BI Worldwide is a global leader in behavioral economics, and they continually stress the importance of the employee in keeping them engaged. The effort that you put into your employees today will pay off tenfold to your bottom line. And to be honest, without engaged employees, nothing that we're talking about today will work. So let's look at some really great stats that I think really tie in the importance of having engaged employees. First off, from a productivity standpoint, engaged employees have 18% higher productivity and 60% higher quality than unengaged employees. Higher productivity and quality equals more profit for your dealership. How about customer satisfaction? Companies with highly engaged employees score between 12 and 34% higher in customer satisfaction ratings. So to those dealers on the phone that still stress CSI and realize how important CSI is to the dealership and to the manufacturer, employee engagement is critical for that also. And then let's talk a little bit about dealership turnover. Engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave an organization. They are 5 times less likely to leave than employees who are not engaged. So have you ever thought about why so many dealerships struggle with turnover? Those dealerships who stress their employees and the culture and engage those employees keep their staff around. To have engaged employees. Now, how do we provide tools to help the employees promote all the good things they're doing with your customer? Well, as part of the Certified Dealer Program with DealerRater, we provide the option for the employees to set up their own employee page. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But one other thing that we like that a lot of dealers are starting to take advantage of is that we also have what I would call a staff widget. If you think about it, nowadays, our staff for our dealerships can be listed on multiple different sites. And so it takes some time for somebody in the dealership to make sure that everything's always current, or having to go and do the same thing on all these different sites. Well, what a lot of our dealerships done, and as you could see from Flemington BMW, they are using our staff widget, is that they're making their staff page a part of the DealerRater review page. And so they just have to make the change in the DealerRater widget, and those changes occur on the dealership website. So one place to make the change, and there's consistency across the web. So this allows your employees to start building their own brand within your brand. And again, as I mentioned, now you're just updating it in one place. So great opportunity for your consumers to understand who your employees are and help them choose the employee that they want to deal with. So I will say this, we've come a long way. Do we all remember that 3-ring binder? And I should probably say there may be some people out there that still have that 3-ring binder on their sales desk, but it's that 3-ring binder with the letters from consumers, a couple of the pages may be ripped, some of the pages may be yellowing right now. How about allowing your employees to highlight their why buy in a much more modern way? If you think about it, nowadays most employees already have profile pages at a personal level. Employees have Facebook pages, they have LinkedIn profiles, they have Twitter accounts. How about giving your employees a profile page that will allow them to promote the good things that will ultimately benefit your dealership? So let's talk about what it takes to have a successful employee page on DealerRater. And ultimately, this is the employee's online greeting. Competition plus recognition equals more reviews and more appointments. So when we look at a powerful employee page, one of the most important things to the consumer is the employee bio. If we think about it, consumers want to be able to relate to somebody. They want to be able to go on and read that they have something in common. Maybe they went to the same high school or the same college, or they follow the same sports teams, or they volunteer at the same soup kitchen, or they walk in the same breast cancer walk that happens every summer. A lot of consumers will make a connection with that and physically decide to ask for a specific employee because there's that relation. Another important piece of that is the employee photo. We always hear putting a face with a voice. Consumers want to see who they're dealing with before they come in. We also know that sometimes consumers make a reaction on, hey, this person looks nice, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for them or pick up the phone and call them. So very important. And one other thing we also allow on our DealerRater employee page is video. And we always tell dealerships that you have to control this, but let your employees have fun with those videos. Let the consumer feel and see the personality and the type of person that they're going to deal with when they walk into the dealership. So a lot of great ways that you can really leverage that employee page and put that personal relationship between an employee of the dealership and that consumer. And there's also other ways that you can buy into your employee. We know that the OEM, BMW, offers different certifications to employees. DealerRater also has a certification program that we'll talk about here in a minute. Studies show that employee retention is tied a lot to an employee feeling that they're always learning in their job. So a great way for your employees to feel like you're bought into them, you're investing into them, and that improves your employee engagement. So now that we've got our employees and we know they're dedicated and they're providing the absolute best customer service, how do they promote that to the consumers? And so what I wanted to do is throw up a quick example of what one dealership is doing. Is they actually put a electronic picture frame on the salesperson's desk, and that's scrolling through that specific employee's reviews. So let's think about this. Nowadays, if we think about that test drive scenario, the consumer walks in, they sit down at that salesperson's desk. Now the consumer says, I want to test drive this vehicle. Well, the salesperson gets up. They say, give me about 5-10 minutes. The car's in the back of the lot. Let me pull it around and I'll come grab it. Well, if you're not giving a consumer something to do while they're waiting for that test drive, for all we know, they've got got their iPhone up, the dealerships in the area control that scenario. So now the consumer can be looking at that electronic picture frame. They could be handed an iPad. Hey, while I'm pulling around that card, hey, take a look at what consumers are saying about me. Or they could just simply turn their monitor around and say, hey, I know I treat my customers good, but while I'm pulling that test drive around, read the reviews and what consumers are saying about me. Another great story, and I love to share real stories we hear from our dealerships, is there's a sales rep up in Minnesota in a dealership. And she went from one of the least selling reps to more than doubling the sales of any other salesperson in that dealership. And it ultimately had to do with her driving her DealerRater review page. Her business card simply says, Google me. That's all it says. The consumer will Google her name. The first thing that comes up, even above her Facebook page or LinkedIn page, is her DealerRater page. That has helped her more than double the sales of everyone else in the dealership that she works for. So very, very good stories that I would love to share. So nowadays, if we think about it, perception is reality. Here's a great example of a slight change and what a difference this makes for that customer experience. So let me ask you on the phone, who would you buy from? A, as a consumer, or would you buy from B? As a consumer, which employee looks happier, more engaged, and somebody that you want to spend money with? I think it's pretty simple. Letter B. That is the consumer. That's the person that that consumer is going to want to interact with. We talked a little bit about it. One of the new features that DealerRater just came out with, and it's really investing into your employees, is what's called certified employee. What happens is that the employee has to have a certain amount of reviews, and they have to take training specific to best practices around, customer experience. But once they do that, they are tagged specially on the dealership page. So as you'll notice here, Lori has a special check as a certified employee. She's listed over all the other employees on the DealerRater review page. So automatically, consumers are going to look at the first name and notice that she's certified. Let me look at her first. So great value to that consumer to really put some emphasis on the customer service. We also allow that employee to print off a certificate. I know a lot of dealerships nowadays, they have certificates posted in the waiting room, or they can put it on the employee's desk. This certificate, again, is that consumers looking at the desk, and waiting for that test drive, they're reading that this specific employee is dedicated to that customer experience. So all extremely very powerful things. So now that we've got the employees engaged and they're happy and they're delivering top-notch customer experience, how do we recognize and celebrate your employees' accomplishments? And ultimately, what it's going to do is it's going to have a very positive effect on your bottom line. So engage employees with reviews. Appreciation is the number one incentive for employee satisfaction according to a 2012 Merit Share study. Not money or not prizes or gifts. It's actually appreciation. So what you need to do is instill a review-based culture. Engage your entire staff. And we talked about that, not just sales, engage service also. Recognize your top reviewed employees every week. Drive competition among your employees. Let me stress this. Make your culture a fun and competitive place to work. And always, always, always celebrate success. And throwing out a couple other quick examples around recognition and celebrating. Read reviews in meetings. Celebrate the good ones. Unfortunately, you're going to get a couple bad or ugly ones. Here's your perfect opportunity to use it as a learning experience. Make sure it doesn't happen in the dealership. Post reviews in the break room. Everyone loves to see their name and lights. Post those reviews on that big board. Have the dealer principal or the general manager send an alt email to the dealership recognizing that employee's success or that review. There's nothing better as an employee of a company to know that somebody at a high level is taking the time to say they appreciate them, and then get creative. If you've got so many good reviews in it, maybe don't give them lot duty or have them eat first on Saturday. Little things. That's what's important. I absolutely love this quote. We've got people driving from 300 to 400 to 500 miles away all the time. You go to our website, look at those reviews. Every third or fourth one says, I drove from Miami, or Savannah, or Tampa. because consumers are they so much watch and they want a good experience, they're willing to drive the distance to get that experience. And here's one example that I think will really resonate. You've got that employee, that next salesperson, they have that next up, and they see that consumer pull into the parking lot. They park their car, and they're excited. They're getting ready to give that handshake and greet them. The handshake, and the consumer says, hey, thanks, Jim. I appreciate you greeting me at the door, but I want to talk to Mary. I read her review on DealerRater, and I want to talk to Mary. And by the way, I just drove 300 miles this year, so is she around? I can tell you the first time that happens in your dealership, every single salesperson, every single service person will immediately start focusing on their reputation on their DealerRater page, because they just lost it up to another salesperson, and a consumer drove 300 miles to get there. So all extremely powerful stuff that really makes a difference and proves that you don't have to incent your employee to do that. If they're going to get all the ups walking in the door, they're not going to need any other incentive. They're going to be killing them with natural people walking in the door. One final quote is employee recognition celebrated. A 5.0 DealerRater rating has helped Spokane Subaru benefit even beyond the sales floor. Employees are proud of their positive rankings, building morale among staff, and even helping their general manager recruit. We've had buy-in from employees. They're proud of it when we use the positive rankings to recruit. We give our sales and service writers buy-in and help them feel like they're a part of the great dealership culture we work hard to create. So again, just some really great stories that we've got. So let's pull this all together. We know how important your employees play into your consumer experience. DealerRater provides your employees a great way to promote their why buy with employee pages. So how does this work into the life cycle of reviews? Let's start with the consumer. Now remember, 84% of consumers trust reviews in their buying cycle. So first off, consumers read reviews. This is critical as we know consumers are only visiting dealerships 1.7 times compared to 7 to 10 times not too long ago. So I will ask you, will your online reviews make you one of those 1.7 dealerships that consumers are now visiting before they make a buying decision? So now the consumers read the dealership, they like the dealership. Now they want to read about the employee and the one they want to deal with. So they choose the salesperson because of the reviews. The DealerRater employee page is critical to this step. Now that they've found the dealership, they've chosen the employee, now they're going to make their way to the dealership. Let me ask you, how many dealerships do they pass en route to that dealership and that employee that they've chosen? I hope it's not your dealership. I hope they're coming to yours, but if you're not engaging your employees, if you're not paying attention to your online reputation, there is a chance that many consumers are driving right by your dealership in a way to that other dealership that you're competing with. So now the salesperson provides that excellent customer experience. Remember, they're happy and they're engaged employees. So now the salesperson asks for that consumer for a review. There's a lot of great things. DealerRater provides you a lot of tools to do that. And then finally, that salesperson leverages the reviews in the sales process. And we talked about that Why Buy Modern book. So as you can see, the consumer review process is critical to the success of your dealership and the culture of your dealership. So got a couple quick slides, and we'll turn it over for questions. So now you say, Ray, I've got some great ideas, and I'm excited to get my employees more engaged, but I need to see that this all works. I need the facts. So the results, it's a very simple equation. Happy employees equal happy customers equal more leads, which equals to more business, profit, dealership success. By the way, none of these stats are possible without the right culture and your employees dedicated to your consumer every day. Online reviews and ratings drive site traffic and leads. A 2013 Datium study, car shoppers are 90% more likely to visit a dealer website and 5.3 more likely to convert to a lead when a dealer has a positive overall rating of 3.5 stars or higher. Remember that simple equation? Happy employees equal happy customers equal more leads. According to a Datium study, consumers that view employee review pages of certified dealers on DealerRater are 12 times more likely to convert to a lead for a dealership compared to consumers that did not visit DealerRater. 12 times more likely to convert to a lead. Employee engagement equals customer engagement. Remember that simple equation again? Happy employees equal happy customers equal more leads. Final stats. Online reviews increase sales. A 2012 Pulse study, dealers with an average star rating of 4.0 or higher had a 21% greater increase in sales compared to dealerships with an average star rating of 2.0 or less. 21% greater increase in sales. Again, remember that equation. Happy employees equals happy customers equal more leads, ultimately equaling more business, more profit, more dealership success. So let me ask you, how would you like 21% greater increase in sales?
Thanks, Ray. So that's absolutely my favorite stat because we're here to help you guys drive sales at your dealership. That's exactly what we want to do. So just looking at some key takeaways here, people are looking at online reviews to make those buying decisions. Without a doubt, that's how they're getting to your dealership. So that really needs to be infused in your dealership culture. Employees need to care and drive reviews. And then once you get those positive reviews, you need to really share that on all your digital properties and advertisement campaigns. We want to teach the employees to be their own brand, so making sure they are getting reviews for themselves, showing off those reviews with their iPad at the desk or bringing up the Facebook page, and then embracing competitiveness. If there's a salesperson who's getting 2 reviews a day on DealerRater, well, guess what? The neighbor needs to be getting 3 reviews to keep up. I have a great story just to wrap this all up. I went to a grand reopening the other month, and a dealership employee came up to me and said, "Thank you. I have customers coming and asking for me by name and saying that they only want to work with me." And it was because of my online reviews. People are reading my name online. They're reading my positive reviews on DealerRater, so I don't have to do any other advertisement for myself. It's great. So this is a great example of a dealership employee who's embraced this culture and really helping set himself and that dealership apart from their competition.
So let's put a nice bow around this. Now is your chance to be number one. But now are you number one in your consumer's eyes, not just your eyes or your manufacturer's eyes? So I leave you with one question. How is your dealership going to be different?